Hi, if you are the CEO of a startup, then this video is going to be very useful for you. I'm going to be discussing five critical essentials that a CEO must have or must lay a foundation for before really embarking into a journey of entrepreneurship. Now, these five essentials are essentially informed from my work with tens of CEOs over the past decade in the capacity of a life coach and a business coach. Now, when I worked with these CEOs, it was really like living a life with them. It's the closeness, it's the day-to-day engagement that one discovers a lot about these CEOs, a lot about what really went wrong, what could have they changed, what do they regret, all those things. And more than all of this, the one thing that comes up very clearly in all the assignments I've done with these guys, each one of them, each one of them at the point where they contracted me said tens of things they would have done differently. Now, what I'm going to share today is really informed from all of that, all of the knowledge through this discovery. Mostly they hired me really for getting more resilient, for strategizing, for making better decisions as a sounding board, a catalyst if you like, or a mirror. Now, I'm going to now share what are these five critical essentials that I would say are kind of mandatory before you take your first baby steps into entrepreneurship. The first one out of these is know your head. What that really means is it's like a manual to your brain. Now, most of us have our thinking preferences, and most of us think from one or two dominant preferences. What that means is that, for example, you could be a imagineer or a strategist, or you could also be an analyst or a realist. You may be an organizer or a preserver. On the other hand, you could be a socializer, empathizer. Now, essentially, each one of us is all of these at some point in time. Yet, all of us have a preference for one or two of the ones I've just talked about. What this means is when you get a high sense of awareness about your thinking preferences, then you can easily navigate through the whole brain depending on the setting, the context, or the challenges that your business is going through at a point in time. So that's what we call whole brain thinking. That's really important because the CEOs I've worked with, typically they make the decisions based on their traditional or default thinking. What that means is they could have made decisions leveraging the whole brain if they had a key or idea of how this is done. Now, the second critical essential is, do you really have the DNA of an entrepreneur? What that means is, there are 6 dimensions of an entrepreneur. That's like a DNA. The first dimension is getting into the zone. What that means is, do you have a mindset to create success? The second is opening up to the world. What that really means is connecting with who can really help you. Then seeing possibilities. That is like things that you can innovate and create. Then of course you have creating superior possibilities. What that means is, do you really have a business which is highly profitable, very productive, and all of that? The fifth dimension is staying in the zone. That's like you either use your knowledge, your energy, or you lose it. The point is, You got to persist. You got to continue to persist. And the last of all is building capability, which really is developing a business which is very effective and and always performance oriented. Uh, those are the 6 dimensions of an entrepreneur. So the third critical essential is getting a true sense and essence of really what life and business means for you, and then sharing it with people who are close, and especially your partner. Now, in my experience working with CEOs, many of them went down the rabbit hole as far as their personal lives are concerned. And it was all due to the challenges that came along the way, the pitfalls, which their spouses either did not expect or were oblivious to what entrepreneurship is. So what I'm really saying here is share upfront to set expectations. What can go wrong? And if X happens or Y happens, how would you want your close members of a family to respond? How would you want them to support you? Because normally people are used to a certain lifestyle, and in a business and entrepreneurship there's a fair amount of risk, and most entrepreneurs embark without really giving too much thought to this risk, and there you go, they take the first baby steps, and there are blocks, and there are challenges, there are barriers. So it's important to really have open conversations before you even begin. Set that foundation, lay that expectation, set it all up. Yeah. The fourth critical essential is getting a good sense of what really weighs you down. What that means is, if you want to fly as an entrepreneur, obviously that's what we really want. We want to be very successful. There is a lot at stake. So the heavier your wings, the slower you will fly, or you may not even be able to fly. What that means is being cognizant of all the pieces that weigh you down. Now that could be the relationship you have with your spouse, it could be the relationship with children, it could be their demands, it could be day-to-day conversations, it could be your employees, your stakeholders, all of that. The point here is, in my experience working with these CEOs, that's one of the pieces which was a huge realization for almost all of the CEOs I worked with when we came to the point, hey, what weighs you down? That question in itself normally knocks you off your chair. What it also does is it gives you a good sense and awareness of what to focus on and what not to focus on. The point here is, once you know what weighs you down, you actually get rid of what weighs you down. And that is one of the best things, or the strongest pillar in the foundation that you're creating in the 5 critical essentials that I'm talking about. Let's go to the 5th critical essential. Define and articulate your entrepreneurship philosophy. What that really means is asking yourself and then sharing it. How rich is rich? What is the sort of journey you want? Who are the type of people you want to be around? What is the type of engagement, day-to-day engagement? Because, my dear friend, entrepreneurship is no cakewalk. It is not for the faint-hearted. It's for people who are driven by passion, have a huge sense of purpose, yet all CEOs I've worked with felt they are invincible, and that was the biggest mistake they thought they made. We are not invincible. So the point is, clearly know your philosophy. What are you willing to give up? What are the relationships that matter? What don't matter to you? What that does is, that keeps you very focused and in terms of who to be with, where to be, what type of environment to be, what to say no to. So all of that, because in an entrepreneurship journey, which is if you want it seamless and you want to really enjoy the journey, then these 5 criticals and a philosophy is absolutely mandatory for you to be not just successful, but really enjoy that success. Yeah. So thank you very much, and I trust that this has been useful for you, and I invite you to make contact with me for a tete-a-tete about your entrepreneurship journey and how do you make it successful and enjoyable. Thank you very much.